Hey Bayside, we're back with another episode of the Best of Bayside Interview Series. This is where we don't just highlight businesses, we celebrate stories that matter. I'm Erica Rose-Siegel, realtor and creator of Best of Bayside, your go-to for connection, visibility, and community support. And today's story is personal and it's powerful. I'd like to introduce you to Marc Perez. He's a Queens native, a tech executive, a martial artist, and an animal lover. And right now, Marc is living with kidney failure. For nearly a year, he's been on dialysis 3 times a week. That's more than 15 hours every week in treatment alone, just to survive. But Marc's focus isn't about survival. It's about hope. Hope to be a dad, hope to travel again, hope for a second chance at life through the gift of a living kidney donor. So today, I invite you to listen with your heart and share Marc's story. Because sometimes stories like this remind us Best of Bayside is more than just a business network. It's about community, it's about connection, and it's about saving lives. So Marc, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Marc Perez. I'm 40 years old and I live in Bayside, Queens. I'm a professional in the tech industry. I've been in sales for about 15 years in business to business and telecom services. I enjoy problem solving, skill development, self-improvement, and helping others in the community. Outside of work, I am a martial artist. I used to train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I run and I weightlift. I cook, learning how to cook, taking salsa lessons, learning how to dance, and learning Spanish in my spare time.
When did you first learn that you needed a kidney transplant? And, how has that impacted your life?
Yeah, so it all started around 2009. I was diagnosed with chronic kidney disease, which is called advanced IgA nephropathy. So that was back in 2009. Kind of since the beginning, my doctor told me the end game was that eventually I would probably need dialysis and I may need a kidney transplant one day. But nobody knows when or how long that was going to be. So that was, 16 years ago that I've been on the treatment plan ever since. But I only started dialysis September of last year, September of 2024. So, it's been an adjustment. I've had to make a lot of changes in my life. In terms of my schedule, in terms of treatment. Dialysis takes up about close to 15 hours a week. I go 3 nights a week after working full time. It's been a lot of adjustments in my life that I had to make, but I'm positive, I'm optimistic. I keep going forward, trying to use that time during treatment to get some work done, do some reading, do some self-development, keep my mind on a positive outlook and looking forward, and just trying to lean on the people who support me. Friends, family, people I've met in the business community. When something like this happens, you kind of learn who's in your corner and who's not. And I'm grateful for the people that are helpful and supportive and love me and care about me. That's part of what keeps me going.
Could you talk about some of the symptoms and the difficulties that you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis because of your condition?
Yeah, so a lot of physical things that I never felt before. Number one is insomnia. A lot of nights I have trouble sleeping, partially because of chemical buildup in the blood due to kidney failure. Part of it is because of the schedule of dialysis. I do dialysis 3 nights a week for 4 hours and 15 minutes. Really, it ends up being about 5 hours a day because of the time to travel there, a few minutes of prep, starting the treatment, and a few minutes of finishing the treatment at the end. Plus, I can't go to sleep right away when I get home. So it's roughly about 15 hours a week out of my schedule. It takes up a lot of time and energy, changes to my diet, changes to my sleeping patterns, a lot of medication, dietary changes that I've had to make, just the overall stress and the pain of dealing with the treatment day to day. A lot of times you get cramping, dizziness, headaches, nausea, other kinds of body pain when they dehydrate you during the dialysis treatment, where they're removing waste fluid from your blood. It's necessary in order to keep going because it's part of the treatment, but it's tough sometimes, and it takes a toll on your body, and it's painful, and it causes other issues like I said, dizziness, headaches, nausea. Makes it difficult to sleep, which affects the rest of your life. I never really appreciated a good night's sleep until recently, because all my life I've never really had trouble sleeping. Ever since I've started dialysis, I notice maybe it's from the stress of overall life in general, but it feels like it's more and more difficult to sleep the longer I do dialysis. So it does affect me. Pain in the arm, pain in the access site, which is called the AV fistula. That's where they inject me every couple of days. 2 needles, one going in, one going out. One extracts blood from your body and one pumps the clean blood back in. So there's local pain and swelling, causes disruption in the blood flow of the arm, and just brain fog as well. Trouble concentrating, dizziness, not slurring your words, but like forgetting your words, losing a trail of thought. It feels like you're reading a book and you're missing pages of the book, where suddenly there are gaps in what you were going to say and what you're trying to remember. You just suddenly can't remember sometimes. You just can't find the right words. And just overall fatigue and lack of energy. You feel tired, you feel weak, you feel dizzy a lot of the time, but that's the new normal right now. I've gotten used to it, and it's only for a time. It's not going to be forever. So I deal with it the best that I can. I have my friends, family, different people supporting me, and it's made it a little bit easier. And I just kind of try to focus on business as usual. Keep doing my job to the best of my ability, keep going with my professional development and my professional life. That kind of keeps me focused on track, and I just try not to think about my problems as much. I'm present. I do deal with what's going on. I'm aware of the gravity of my situation and what's going on, but I don't let it rule my life. I try to focus on business as usual as much as possible. My goals are bigger than my obstacles, and I'm going to get there eventually. So, it's part of the journey, I guess you could say.
How has your health journey changed your perspective on life, and more specifically on your relationships?
Well, I think that in life, when you have a serious health condition like what I'm going through, it changes your perspective, because you really only have one problem. Everything else becomes an inconvenience, and you find out who's in your corner very quickly, who are your real friends, and who's behind you, and who supports you, and who cares about you, people willing to share your message, things like that. Also, one thing that surprised me was the kindness of strangers. I've met a lot of great people through the business community, through social media, through friends of friends, former co-workers, all types of people from different walks of life, people who've survived kidney transplants, people who've donated kidneys to family members, friends, co-workers. And when you learn about all these different things, the kindness of strangers was very surprising to me, honestly. People you've known for years sometimes are quiet, and people you've just met recently and people you barely even know are willing to help you do more than some of those people you've known all your life. And I'm grateful for the wisdom to know the difference between the two.
So, what helps you stay grounded, or maybe even hopeful, on the hard days?
So on the hard days, I think about my goals and I think about my future. My goals and my ambitions are bigger than my challenges. Also, the support of friends, family, people in the community, such as Best of Bayside, who've been very wonderful and helpful in sharing my story. They've been very kind and supportive, and just knowing that this is a storm that's going to pass. It's a time in my life, it's a season, but it's not the entire story of my life. This is just one chapter, and I've still got a lot to look forward to. One day I want to have children, I'd like to have grandchildren. That's one of my motivating goals. I want to stay around long enough to play with my grandchildren. That would be one of my dreams, and that's part of what keeps me going on the hard days.
So, what does it actually mean to be a living kidney donor?
Well, I think that when you become a donor, you give someone else a second chance at life. Most healthy people are born with 2 kidneys, and they can live a full life with just one. And that's one of the only organs that you can donate while you're still alive, and a lot of people don't realize that. I think that if you are selfless and you are able to become a donor for someone in your life, whether it's a friend, family member, coworker, or even an altruistic donor, someone who's a total stranger. You never know whose life you can save and what other opportunity you're giving them by allowing them to extend their life. So I would say get the facts, learn what it means to be a donor, learn what the process is like. It's not as risky as you think it is. There are a lot of testing and a lot of medical requirements to make sure that it's safe for you to donate. So the testing is very thorough to ensure both parties' safeties. But it's relatively simple. It's a small procedure. The recovery is quick. There aren't so many complications compared to other kinds of surgeries. And almost everybody I've read about that has donated a kidney, they've gone on to get married, they've gone on to have children, climb mountains, be successful in business, accomplish all their goals in life. Life goes on, and it's just another day after that. So I would say it's not so hard to donate in that sense. And I would encourage people to find out the facts and see who they can help in their life. You never know whose life you might be able to save.
Why do you think it's so important to share your story publicly?
So I've changed my stance on that recently. In the beginning, I kind of wanted to just keep it to myself and keep my problems private, just put my head down and go through it on my own and kind of just work through my problems. That's how I usually like to deal with things. But I realized that by sharing my story, I might be able to inspire and help others. And I think when you have that kind of ability, you have a responsibility to use it. So I wanted to put my story out there, not just to try to save myself and to hopefully get a donor and hopefully solve my own problems, but maybe spurring others to action, causing other people to stand up and fight for themselves and just not give up and keep fighting and know that you're not the only one going through something. There's about 100,000 people in the United States that need a kidney transplant at any point, and only about 12 or 1,300 kidney transplants are done annually in the U.S. From what I've heard, most people have 2 kidneys, and if every person who would needed a kidney transplant had somebody come forward, like a friend or family member or a coworker, everybody has someone in their circle that can donate and help them. And I think if people knew about that and knew that they could actually be a donor and potentially save a life, we would have a lot fewer people on the kidney transplant list in this country. And that's something I'd like to use my story for. So I think that you have a responsibility to share that story when something like this is going through you.
What would you say to someone who might just be curious or even considering becoming a donor?
Well, I think one of the most important things to know as a donor is that you don't have to be a direct relative of the person. You don't even have to be a perfect match. You don't even have to know the person personally. There is such a thing as what's called an altruistic donor, where it's someone who donates a kidney to a complete stranger. Every blood type, every tissue type, all the variables that they use to match the kidney donations, there's 100,000 people waiting for kidneys in the U.S. So odds are someone out there could use your kidney, no matter what tissue type or blood type or whatever variable that you are. Someone out there needs it, and you can save that person. You don't have to live in the same neighborhood, the same city, or even the same state. They have a lot of the logistics worked out where they can match kidneys across regions and across the country if necessary. So I would encourage you to get tested if you know somebody who's going through organ or kidney failure, and you might be able to help save their life. Now, even if you're not a direct match for the person, they have what's called an organ exchange, where if, let's say, you are a good candidate for donation, but you're not a direct match for the person that you want to help, they can do an exchange where you give your kidney to someone else, and someone else's kidney is donated to the person that you're looking to save. So you can actually save 2 lives instead of 1. I would say find out the facts, and you might be able to save 1, if not more, lives.
So for anyone who's interested in learning more or interested in donating, how could they best reach you?
Right. So you can reach me on social media. My Instagram is at RenaissanceMen210. You can find me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/Marc, M-A-R-C, Perez 210. The link in my bio on Instagram contains a link to the NKR website where you can learn more about signing up as a donor. That website is bit.ly/Marc Needs a Kidney. And also you could find me in the directory for the Best of Bayside community, as well as there are a lot of flyers that have been posted around Bayside, Queens at some of the local shops that are members and that were nice enough to put up space. You'll see my flyers all over Bayside, Queens. So if you'd like to learn more, please reach out to me. I'm happy to work with you. I'm happy to hear from you, and maybe we can find the solution together. Also, you can call me directly, 212-495-9999. 9434. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks.
We hope Marc's story has touched you the way it's touched us. It takes real courage to go public with something like this. And Marc continues to do so with such grace, gratitude, and grit. If you can do us a favor, like, share, tag someone you know who might be able to help. Or drop a heart to show your support, and feel free to ask any questions. Marc is not asking for a handout. He's asking for a lifeline. To learn more or to take action, visit bit.ly/Marc needs a kidney. Or follow him on Instagram at RenaissanceMan210 or on LinkedIn at Marc Perez. Oh, and if you're a local business owner, ready to be seen, supported, and celebrated, comment feature me or reach out. Because at Best of Bayside, visibility isn't just about business. It's about connection. It's about community. And yes, it can even save lives. Until next time, Bayside, keep showing up for each other. This is your grateful realtor and creator of Best of Bayside, Erica Rose Siegel. See you soon.